Alright, so this is Justin from We As Human. It's
What's
really
up?
awesome to be here. And one thing that I really want to ask is, I heard last night on the radio where you got your name, but what does it mean, We As Human?
What does the name We As Human mean? Well, we kind of had to come up with a meaning for it because my brother just had the name when he introduced it to us.
Yeah.
And so we wanted our name to mean something. So it just represents us as a collective humanity, and just how we all share this life experience together on the same planet and the same. We all have troubles and sorrows and happiness and failures and accomplishments and successes, and we kind of go through this as humanity. So We As Human, our name We As Human just represents that, and how even in the way that we're woven together, we still need something outside of ourselves to save us from ourselves, from each other, and for us in We As Human, we obviously believe that that's Jesus Christ, that comes in and saves humanity, that comes in and he says anybody who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved, and no one who calls on the name of the Lord will be put to shame, so he came into human history and changed it and made a way for us, We As Human, to be brought out of this the suffering that we're all currently in together. So.
Yeah, and you just released your new self-titled album, and you've been going on all these awesome tours and stuff. What is the one thing that you think really got you this far?
That got us this far? There's I think that it's a lot of things that have gotten us this far. We're really determined. We've been playing music for a long time. It's what we were wired to do. It's what we were called to do. And a lot of people say, like, oh man, you guys are really living your dream.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think we're living a calling, because dreams come and go. It's like, oh, a dream is like, oh, I'd kind of like to do that. I'd kind of like to do this. But a calling is something that's like wired into your brain by the one who made us. We all have different gifts and talents and abilities. And so God called us to do this band, and I believe that he has ultimate control over where we go. So we've toured with a lot of really great bands, and we've toured with a lot of bands that work as hard as we do and haven't been able to see the success that we've been able to see. And that just shows me that it's the Lord who decides where you'll go with your life. So ultimately, obviously, it's Christ that has put us where we are, and we're just trying to make the most of it and trying not to screw it up, trying not to mess it all up.
Yeah.
So, but we work really hard, and we've had a lot of friends help us. Like Skillet has come alongside of us and really helped us a lot, and we're really thankful to them. But ultimately, I think that with everybody in their life, God helps them get to wherever they need to go.
Mm-hmm. And so, being a Christian, how does your faith go into your songs and just the way you perform?
I think that everybody, as a songwriter, like I write the songs in our band, and as a songwriter, I just write about stories. I write about things that happen to me, things that happen to people that I know, and so I write from a Christian worldview. My perspective is through this filter of Scripture and this filter of Christ and what He's done in the world and what He's doing in the world. And so it affects everything that I do, even this conversation that we're having, the breakfast that we had this morning. So I write from that position, and I think that everybody is preaching a sermon with their life, whether they know it or not. Anyone from like Rob Zombie to Marilyn Manson to Shinedown to Skillet to us. We're just speaking different messages, and that message is whatever is in our heart, and in our heart is the things that Christ has done for us, and so that obviously comes through the music. And then as far as the performance goes, like I've just always loved rock and roll. Like it's not anything like, all right, I got to get up there and do this and this and this. We just get up and we start playing. We don't really think about it too much, and then we just love performing so much that it just kind of comes out.
That's great. If somebody could get one thing from your songs, what would that one thing be? What would you want them to be able to get?
That's always a hard question, because our songs, like there is this meta-narrative, there's this overarching theme in our music, and that is for lack of better words, like the dichotomy of our human nature, like good and evil, like it talks about in Romans 7, where Paul said, like, the good I want to do, I don't do, and the things that I don't want to do, I end up doing. He said, so I find this to be a law, that whenever I do good, evil's there with me, and whenever I do evil, good is there with me. And so we're always warring. You know, it says that we're at war against our sinful nature whenever we're believers. And so I think that you see that a lot in our lyrics, songs like Dead Man and Zombie and Take the Bullets Away, just this continual fighting and struggling against the things that we don't want to do, and trying to live a life that you know, of love and encouraging each other instead of tearing each other down, and loving instead of hating, you know. So I think that if there was one message that comes across, I want people to know that we genuinely believe what we're singing about. I think that our songs speak for themselves. I think that the message is clear in our songs, what we're talking about. And but a lot of people, they'll like the song, but they don't know if the band really believes what they're saying. I want people to know that we're sincere, that we really believe what we're saying. And then they make up their own choice, like to you know, they typically will pull whatever speaks to them out of it. So if they're not a believer, if they're not a Christian, then they'll just get like this good message to keep going and to persevere and to push on in their life and not be torn down by others, you know. And if they are a believer, then they'll hear scripture all through our songs, you know, and they'll be encouraged to follow Christ closer and be more like Him. So I think that I just want people to know that we genuinely believe what we're saying, and then they'll pull from our music whatever they find to.
Awesome. Well, since I have the VS Human and Skillet fan page, I asked my followers to give me some questions that they wanted answered.
Oh, okay. All right, here we go.
I don't remember who asked this, but what is your favorite fan experience? What was like the weirdest thing a fan has done?
Oh, the weirdest thing?
Yeah.
With a fan? Oh my gosh, there's been so many. So we just did the tour with Shinedown and Papa Roach and Skillet, and there were a lot of weird fan experiences on there. Some that I probably shouldn't talk about because they get pretty crazy sometimes. But one that I can think of is I remember we were on the Winter Jam tour with Skillet, and I came out to sign, and I look in this right next to our signing line was this bathroom. And the door opens up, and Justin Cordle, my guitar player, comes walking out, and there's like 4 people in there. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? I'm like, this is so weird. And so this lady who's in there, she's like, hey, come here. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not going to come in there. And she tells me, she said, my 30-some-year-old son has been in this bathroom and will not leave. He got in a car accident, so he wasn't really all there mentally, you know. And she said, we missed your guys' show. He's been in here for over 2 hours, and he won't leave. She said, will you come in and talk to him? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. And so somehow, like, cut to 10 seconds later, I'm standing in the bathroom with like 3 people, and this guy's sitting there. And I'm like, hey man, you want to leave? And he just ignores me. He's just, and so his mom, she's like, hey, tell him you're in a band. I'm like, all right. I was like, dude, I'm in a rock band, man. You know, I'm in a rock band. And he kind of looks at me, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting some sort of response. And his mom's like, yeah, it's good. And I'm like, yeah, and I sing. I'm the singer of the band. And he starts to look at me and smile, and I'm like, man, this is the weirdest thing ever. And so I was like, yeah, I sing a song called Dead Man, and I start singing to him, and he's like clapping his hands and like getting like, you know, excited, and his mom starts crying because he's finally responding. And I'm like, dude, I said, will you do me a huge favor? And he like shakes his head, and I said, will you like get up out of here and go with your family and go home so you guys can, you know? And he like jumps up, like pulls his pants up, thank goodness, and like he hands me his hat, and I sign his hat in the bathroom, and he had a wheelchair outside, and we all left the bathroom together and got in his wheelchair and like wheeled off, and his whole family were like in tears, like, and they were thanking me and hugging me and everything. So that was really weird. Like I can't even like recall that experience and try to make any sense out of it, but it happened, and that was probably like the weirdest one. You know, it's like that's pretty weird being in the bathroom with a few people.
Yes. So I can't pronounce this one. What's it like being a superstar? No one knows this.
What's it like being a superstar?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I don't know that I am. You know, my band and I, it's really hard for us being in the middle of it, understanding how big We as Human is. We still don't understand it. I still don't get it. It's really surprising to me still when people say things like that, or they're like, what's it like being a celebrity, or, we were just all verified on Twitter, and everything, and it's just weird experiencing that because we feel no different. We really don't. Like, we just play music, and we do what we've done since we were kids. I get up and I sing and I play guitar, but now there's just millions of people every week that listen to us on the radio and watch our music videos and come to shows, and so what's it like? I would say that it's if we feel normal. Like, I don't feel like, I think what a lot of people would expect is that you get it. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm a big superstar or whatever. But again, like, I don't feel that way. And we'll go sign autographs for hours on end and take a million pictures, and but that's still, even with all of that, like, we try not to believe all the hype, to be honest with you, because it gets in your head. And we've toured with some people, and we know different artists who start to believe that they're as cool as people say they are, and nobody wants to be around a person like that. Like, you can just become so pretentious and egotistical and prideful, and that's really bad for a person. Like, we aren't meant to be worshipped like gods, and so if you start to believe the things that people say about you, it really messes you up. So we just feel normal. I don't know, that's probably what I'd say. It feels pretty normal.
Alright. Last one. Trey Dragon asks, describe your band in 3 words.
Oh my gosh, really? 3 words? Oh my gosh. Okay. Fun. Chaotic. Christ followers. I'm going to put Christ followers. So fun, chaotic, Christ followers. That's what I do. That's technically 4 words, but
technically, but that works. Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was fun doing this interview. I'm glad we could hook it up here at this cafe in Boise, Idaho, of all places.
Awesome.
So
Totally.
All right. We'll see you at a show hopefully soon.
Yes.